Hey guys, Andy here at MVP Java. Today I'm going to show you how to switch scenes dynamically in your JavaFX application. So what I mean by dynamic is you have no code to write whatsoever. You just include your fxml files underneath your resource directory and they'll automatically get picked up and you'll be able to just switch to them. Now, if you haven't seen part 1 of this tutorial, you absolutely have to go do that right now. I'm going to put a link or an annotation up for you to check that out, okay? And the reason for that is because in part 1 we cover how to use Spring Boot with JavaFX in order to create the notion of a stage manager, and that stage manager is what is responsible ultimately for switching between your scenes, right? So in part 1 we also had to, maintain an enum to tell the stage manager where these fxml files are and what their names are and all that kind of stuff, but not anymore. In part 2, this part, what you're going to learn right now, is that code is automatically going to get generated for you. And so in part 1, we had this application, this login, that you clicked on login and the main application would show up, right? Which is exactly what's going on here. We're in the login controller. We press the login button and it goes to the main, right? So we have all our fxml files here. You notice there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that matches to what's going on in here. So something is is auto-generating this, but let's say we have some other view that we want to switch to, right? So I have this random view that I just tucked away here. Let's put it underneath the right place, which is the fxml directory, right? And I have a Maven plugin that I'm going to show you very soon that when I run and I clean and build this thing, you're going to notice that it executes here. I get a little header and it says I've picked up 6 fxml files. That makes sense, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's recursive. So you can put as many packages as you want. And it's going to, for now, generate this code in this package over here. And you'll be able to change that for your own package structure, and I'll show you that very soon as well. So what happens is if we go in here and we take a look at this enum that gets generated, first thing you'll notice is that I have a little comment on the top just to remind you this is auto-generated, so don't modify this code, okay? This is going to get auto-generated every time you rebuild your application. And one thing is this guy, right? You have the random that just shows up now. You didn't have to write that code. So in part 1, you had to write that code, right? Which is not a bad deal when you got a couple of scenes, but when you have dozens and dozens of scenes, it's nice to have this done for you. So there's a convention in here for the title to use the file name lowercase, right? So random is the constant, random lowercase here, .title, and that'll be in your resource bundle. So in the resource bundle, you're gonna have your titles in there. Now, we could make it a point to auto-generate this too, but I gotta put a little halt on the bells and whistles for the tutorial or else I'm never gonna finish, okay? So let me show you guys how this was actually achieved. In your main now, or in your login controller, you can just simply say, hey, dot, random shows up, right? Let's rerun this bad boy. And the login screen is definitely going to show up again, but this time when you press that, this random scene is going to show up. So you see how easy that is, guys? We're just switching scenes like a boss now. Part 2, okay? So one thing I'm going to share with you guys is this open source framework that I came across to auto-generate the codes. Really awesome. Give me a second. I'm going to show you that as I am going to go through the Maven plugin itself. Okay, so in your project, one thing I can't do for you is actually say, hey, you need this plugin, right? So you got to actually do that part for you. So here's the group ID, the artifact ID, which is my custom Maven plugin is actually called the fxml scanner because it scans through the path for XML files. And this is where you can actually go in here and specify your own package structure, okay? So in this case, I put obviously my package structure, but this is not going to be that for you. So I've done this for you already. Now, if you stay till the end of the video, I'm going to give you some tips on some extra stuff you can add in here to make it even, take it to the next level. And that way I don't have to come up with a part 3, okay? And here is the goal name. Now, you don't see what phase I'm actually executing this in. It's actually the generated phase, but that's going to be specified in the plugin itself. So let's go take a look at that plugin that I keep talking about. Okay, so in that plugin, oh, it got minimized. We take a look at the main class of that plugin, which is here. And here you see the goal name, right? And here's that default phase that said you didn't have to specify in the pom.xml file. So in the generated sources phase, every time you're gonna build that application, this custom plugin is gonna run and create that dynamic enum for you. Okay, so you can see here that I'm using dependency injection at the Maven level to get all the kind of metadata from my Maven project, and I could get more fine-grained and actually say I don't want the whole project, I want the project.resources. So that does a get resources for me, right? And that's important for me right now. I could have just used project itself, but I want to show you you could actually do that. Okay. So if you see here resources, I'm referring to this guy over here. So I basically go in here, I use Java 8's NIO IO library, and I just build that a basic map, okay, which I'm going to show you right here. It says retrieve fxml resources. So the map is nothing more than the key being the name of the XML file, okay, uppercase, and that's really what's becoming the constant in here, right? So console tab here is console tab here, right? And the value being the path to that fxml file relative from the resource directory. So again here, this is this that's getting generated. So if I have the key, right, which becomes the constant, and the value, which is the path, then I can auto-generate all this code using this plugin. So the auto generation happens in this method that I created here called generate dynamic fxml enum. I pass it the map, and what happens is it uses this open source library that I've come really to love called JavaPoet. Okay, so this JavaPoet open source library is what allows me to dynamically generate these sources, right? So as I walk through the file tree, right, this is just normal Java IO stuff, and I build that map, I complete that map, I pass that map over to the generate dynamic fxml enum, right? There's the map in here. And I encapsulate all the generation in my class called enum generator. So let's go take a look at that. Now there's a lot of details in JavaPoet, and I am going to make a separate tutorial on JavaPoet. I love it so much, okay? But at a high level, what happens here is once I just validate the map has, some good data, and I use the destination package that was included in the pom.xml file, I basically build my type spec. So a type spec is really nothing more than an in-memory representation of what you actually want to write out to that file, right? Is it an abstract method? What kind of abstract method you want? What's the return type? Are you overriding any abstract methods? All that kind of stuff that goes into an enum, right? They use builders, method specs, type specs, all that kind of stuff, which I'm not going to go into this tutorial because it's just too much detail and it takes away from switching scenes. Just know it's happening all the way underneath here. In the basement of these private methods over here. So this code is available to you, okay? In the description section, go have fun with it, learn, but know that I'm going to be coming out a tutorial on that very soon, okay? So I build this in-memory representation, the model, if you will, of the enum, and then I pass that type spec, that enum type spec, along with the destination that you want to create it in, right? That you specified in pom.xml file to a Java file. So this is just writing out to it. So this plugin, this Maven 3 plugin, is using JavaPoet to auto-generate this for you. And that's how the magic is done, right? But if you don't care about that, then all you got to know is how to go and do this. Now, I said at the end of the video, I would show you guys, how to make this even better, so you wouldn't have to make me work even more and come up with a part 3, right? Well, one of the things that we could make better is we can come up with a filter, right? So, for example, I could say filter, and I could say, I don't know, scene or something like that. And what I mean by this is this. Look, notice how we have a lot of XML files here. Now, I don't really want to switch to a console tab or a logger tab because those are like sub fxml files in the tab pane. I could actually switch to a tab pane, but I would go through main to do that. So you see there's some that you wouldn't directly switch to even though they're fxml files. So by using a filter, you would say, hey, if the name of the XML file has the word scene in it, like login scene or main scene or random scene, then those will get picked up during the scan and added to the enum, and the other ones won't. So that makes it a point that when you come in here and you click on dot here, only the ones that have the word scene will show up or something like that. So that's one thing that you could do. The other thing is you come up with like a name for your enum, right? So you can say something like enum name, and I don't know, you might want to call it scene enum or something like that, or something completely different, whatever you want, right? Because I called it fxml enum, right? So if you don't want that, you can change that too. And the other thing is you might actually want to say something like, base directory or something like that, and call it scenes. How's that for that's pretty good. So in here I have an fxml, right? But what if you want your base directory to be scenes and you just put everything under there? So you can customize this, and the code is pretty much written for you already, because I've already have in the source code a way to loop through the configuration element and get a child element. I did it for package name. You guys could just extend it and go get these base names, enum name filter, and make it your own. Okay, so those are my tips on how to really send this off to the next level. Well, I hope that really helped you guys out. If it did, please leave a thumbs up, or even better, share the video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, because that way I'll feel tons better. And also you'll be notified of my next videos coming out. And Mom, if you're listening, you subscribe, it's free. Don't worry, you don't have to pay anything. All right, guys, that's it for me. Check you out next time.